Spoiler alert, we are still talking about guilt and sin offerings because God is a broken record with a kink for sweet savors. Welcome back to And God Was Like, almost weekly Torah portion reading hosted by moi, Arielle Kaplan, who spent 6 out of 14 years of Hebrew day school pining after a rabbi's son who, despite my efforts to get into daily minyan davening, did not notice me. But for real, in this Parsha, we do get some new witchy rituals and recipes for guilt, sin, and high priest anointment offerings. Woohoo! I will say, though, that the biggest difference between this Parsha and Parsha Vayikra is that the offerings focus on the Kohanim and not the children of Israel, so we get like a little change of protagonist. Chapter 6. So God is like a schoolgirl passing notes to his crush. But in this case, his crush is Aaron and the passer is Moses. So on this little note, he writes the ritual of the burnt offering. So God says to the Kohanim, whatever you're sacrificing has to burn all night into the morning and you have to keep feeding it wood. So this is like their chore that they're not really getting paid for. And there is a dress code for doing this. Linen garments and breeches. Hot or not? Hot for sure. So he says, take the ashes from the fire, put them next to the altar, and then take off your clothes, totally strip, put on new ones, because we do love an outfit change. And then bring the ashes to a clean place, like outside of the camp. And God is super explicit about not letting the fire go out. Like, don't fucking let that fire fucking go out. And we're gonna let it burn, 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 burn. We're gonna let it burn, burn, burn. And then God talks about the ritual of the meal offering. So he's like, throw in your favorite ingredients, aka flour, oil, frankincense, on the fire for a sweet savor. And no fucking leaven because I'm gluten-free.
I'm gonna cleanse.
And then whatever's left, Aaron and his sons can eat in the dining hall, aka the tabernacle. Here's where we learn that all of the men in Aaron's lineage can eat the offering because they're holy queens.
Yes, yes, yes.
And this is kind of funny. A friend of mine is a Kohen, and he's like, I have to like explain to people that I'm a big deal because like they don't know.
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books.
Chapter 7, the ritual of the guilt offering, and I am just like ridden with Jewish guilt.
Tear away my Jew guilt.
This is the same as a sin offering, but the priest has to dash the blood around the altar for like a little witchy pizzazz. And you have to take all the fat and burn it, and the male priest can eat part of this offering. And then we get to the ritual of sacrifice of well-being. Ooh. God is like, unleavened or leavened cakes.
Time to leave the cakes well alone.
Interesting, because I thought he was gluten-free.
Stopped eating gluten, you'd feel way fucking better all day.
Or wafers, and you spread them all with oil, plus an animal sacrifice. And you have to fucking eat that sacrifice. Don't leave any leftovers because that's really rude. So Aaron and his sons got like a little special treat. The right breast of the animal, which is called the breast of waving.
Got them heavy boobs, heavy boobs. They each have their own memoirs.
And then the priest who does the offering gets the right thigh, called the thigh of heaving. And these are supposed to be like a little thank you from the children of Israel, but I kind of feel like just a card or like an Urban Outfitters gift card would have been fine. Okay, chapter 8, the last chapter, the inauguration of the Kohanim. Okay, so God is like to Moses, fetch Aaron and his sons and all the supplies and get all the nations to the tabernacle. So Moses is like, fine. He sends out his Facebook invites. Everybody shows up. And Moses is like, okay, guys, God told me to do this, so like, don't judge me.
I feel like you're being super judgy.
And he gets Aaron and his sons, his nephews, and he washes them.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
And then he dresses them with all those heavy garments we learned about in the last chapter of Exodus, aka the first video. And then he pours oil all over their heads, and then he crowns them. And I just gotta say, reading this, all I could think of is Julie Andrews anointing Anne Hathaway as Queen of Genovia in the Princess Diaries, and I hope you guys did too.
And custom of the same.
So then Moses takes a sin offering, and he does that whole witchy ritual of slaying the bull. He uses his finger to paint the horns of the altar with blood, and then he pours the rest of the blood into the base of the altar. And he does this also for the burnt offering. And then he does some other meal offering shit, and then he takes some oil and blood that was in the altar, sprinkles it over Aaron and his son 7 times, which is like, now they have to wash that. And then Aaron and his sons are told that they have to eat the sacrifice, burn any of the leftovers, and finish off an unlimited bread basket from Olive Garden.
Ooh, breadsticks.
But they also have to stay in the tabernacle for 7 days while they're being consecrated. So a little social distancing for them.
Stay the at home.